So any plans to come to India, Ed, for the opening of your new school?
Oh, I'm really hoping. Yeah, can't wait.
Okay.
Just a question of when, really.
When does it open? In September? Is that your first batch?
I genuinely, I don't know, actually. I think we're a bit further away than that.
Okay. Right. Let me get started. Because I'm going to first start with our introduction, and then so hopefully by then we'll have more attendees for you. So hi, welcome. Thank you for joining us for this webinar today. We have three of, I think, at least in India, the most famous schools, boarding schools in the UK. So we have Iona Hutchison, who is the Director of Admissions at Charterhouse. We have Ed Venables, who's the Director of Admissions at Wellington College. And we have James Postle, who's the Deputy Head Enrollment at Millfield School. Thank you so much for joining us. So before we just get started, I'll just run you through how we're going to be doing this. Today, I'll just introduce the Red Pen very quickly to you. And then I'm going to hand over to each of the panelists who's going to just run you through, give you a feel of the school, tell you a little bit about them. And after about 30 minutes, we'll open it up for question and answers. Please write whatever questions you have on the chat, and I will definitely try and answer as many of those as possible. We'll go for about an hour, and hopefully we'll try and answer as many. At the end of it, I'll also share my details with you. So in case some questions remain unanswered, please reach out to me and I'd be happy to do it later. So just a bit about the Red Pen. We're an 11-year-old company, very ably run by Kimberly Dixit and Namita Mehta. And, our aim is really to meet the educational goals of every student across ages. We have 100+ consultants. We work across the world. We place students in any country. And our consultants are based in more than 7 countries. There are really 5 main service lines which we cater to. I think probably the youngest student comes in for the boarding school, where because of the UK needs, we start talking to them in the 5th standard, which is around around 10 years old. And we work with helping them identify what are their needs, which countries, what are the correct schools, and then help them through the process. Our next line is really the early advising line, which helps all our students build a profile towards going to college, because as everybody knows, that's a very big part of the application process, especially in the US. So typically students would join us in the 8th standard or anywhere then and work with us till the 11th before they actually go into the application process. We have an undergraduate team line, which works with undergraduate students with their applications across the world. We work with Canada, US, UK, Europe, Australia, Singapore, anywhere. And then we have the MBA line, which works for students looking in the master's, in business administration. And finally, our MA master's line, which really helps students get their master's degree. Just jumping a little bit into the boarding school line, I think, the boarding school line has started from a personal passion of Namita's, because she herself is an alum from Charterhouse, and was very keen to bring this experience to the Indian market. I myself am Aarti Anand. I manage the boarding school line for the Red Pen, and again have first-hand experience myself. I've lived in the UK, so I've got experience of day schools. And my own kids have gone to boarding schools, so have my own experience with the UK boarding schools. We really work with boarding schools across the world. So we do Canada, US, UK, Switzerland, Singapore, and one of cases Europe, which is very rare. But that's really just a little bit about us. I don't want to spend too much time on us. Let me jump into now the panelists, and if I can hand it over to Ed, and if you could please take over and tell us a little bit about Wellington.
Fantastic. Well, listen, thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. And it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much to the Red Pen for hosting us today. Now, excuse me if I am inept with technology, but I'm going to get there. So my name is Ed Venables, and I am Director of Missions at Wellington College. I just so wish I could actually be in India with you today. I love India to the extent that I had my honeymoon there, and I really just can't wait to visit. And you know, we are opening a school in Pune at the moment, so I hope Wellington's presence in India is going to grow and grow over the next few years. So I'm gonna start, if it's all right, with a very quick video. This may not work. If it doesn't work, it's only less than a minute. So let's just see what happens. Here we go. Very good. I hope you saw a fraction of that at least. So Wellington is it's a remarkable school, founded in 1859 by Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, and we're trying to really provide an education that's steeped in service. So even recently, with a new headmaster, we've just rethought our purpose statement, and the purpose absolutely remains as it really has always done, to provide a pioneering education to shape a better world. And you can see some of the stats there. We're just hugely convenient to people flying in from India. Big campus just outside London. Big house, big school with 1,094 pupils, but split up into 17 houses. And I'll talk a bit more about the co-ed side in a second. We operate an entirely holistic model, but at the heart really is academic excellence. Mr. Dahl always talks about, our headmaster always talks about education coming from the Latin educare, which means to bring out. And we feel that young people can be brought to themselves in every single way. And it's very much our duty to do this, actually. And being intellectual is at the heart of our model. And what goes on inside the classroom is actually, obviously crucial in a strongly academic school. When we did GCSEs last time, which seems like years ago, we were placed in the top 10 UK co-ed schools, and our IB results, we do A-levels and IB, place us in the top 10 schools in the world for the last 3 years. And as you'd expect with that kind of intake, our university outcomes are very strong, with 20 to 25 students going to Oxbridge each year, and more, actually more than that now go to the US, and the vast majority of the rest go to Russell Group UK universities. So we offer a sort of inspiring and pioneering educational experience inside the classroom. Every student has a Microsoft Surface, which they use. We were probably the first school to bring Harkness teaching to the UK. And that's where pupils sit around these oval tables, and knowledge and understanding of your subjects, it therefore emerges collectively, as opposed to the traditional model where the teacher stands at the front and the pupils sit in silence writing notes. And that's been a really major change at Wellington. At Wellington, pastoral care is absolutely critical, and it really is the foundation of life on which Wellington is built. our sort of proactive and positive approach to pastoral care. This is delivered through our 17 houses. Now they have matrons, they have tutor teams, we've got a health centre, we've got counsellors, and so much more. These operate basically as a safety net, but also we like to say as a sort of pastoral trampoline, so that students are equipped with the skills to bounce back when inevitably they are going to face challenges in their lives. And life is difficult for teenagers at the moment. And so this really has to be critical. This is backed up by our pioneering wellbeing programme, which we've been running since 2006. And when we started it, we had all the newspapers in the UK saying we were crazy and Wellington was teaching happiness and Wellington had gone mad. But now, virtually every school in the country has a wellbeing programme. And ours has obviously developed with time and become even more central to everything we do. We believe very much that happy children are successful children and are going to get the most out of school if they're really flourishing and thriving in their emotional well-being. The co-curriculum is a vital element of Wellington education. We abound with excellence in the arts and in sport and global citizenship and service. But we're also passionate that Wellington's not just for those with immense talents in those areas, but that there's also an ability for everyone to participate and enjoy the experiences that you gain from being part of a play or in a netball team. So much of learning and growing as a person happens not just inside the classroom, but very much outside the classroom too. So the final thing to say here is, about Wellington is that we're absolutely passionate about co-education. So we've been fully co-ed since 2006. We're now building a sixth form co-ed boarding house, and that will take us to exactly 50-50 by the time we get to 2025. And we believe that co-ed is absolutely the right environment for young people to be schooled in, particularly in these ages of 13 to 18. And, if you're in the classroom, you might be discussing poetry or moral issues or trying to solve a particularly challenging mathematical problem. And if you've got the views and perspectives of boys and girls around the table, it's absolutely vital. They learn to respect each other's views and listen to each other and benefit from that holistic conversation. Outside the classroom, whether you're in a play, a musical, or a sport team or orchestra, all of that is vital, and so much of that can be done co-educationally, and they learn from one another in these ways. So they learn, how to be with one another in a natural and very modern way, and that's so important for the world that we live in, the world that they will be in when they go to university, and then obviously in the world of work afterwards. We love the fact that some of our best dancers at Wellington are boys. Some of our best cadets in the CCF are girls. And everyone therefore gets to see that no matter what gender you are or how you identify, you can absolutely achieve anything. So I really hope that our sort of fizzy, buzzy, co-ed, holistic educational provision sounds exciting. I hope that you'll be able to come and visit us soon. Absolutely critically, you've just got to see the culture at Wellington, and I hope you enjoy what you see. I'll finish very briefly on the admissions process and just basically apologise. It starts ridiculously early, and it really is a horrendous process for everyone, but it's that which we work by, I'm afraid. It starts in year 6 when the pupils are 11. We are able to offer places later than that as well, but the earlier you can get your names down, the better. We do a similar process for year 12 entry, and that takes place at the end of year 10. And for us, the academic ability is important, and we test using this ISEB pre-test, but we understand and we absolutely hope that people don't overtly prepare for this, simply because huge amounts of preparation doesn't make much difference. And actually all we're trying to do is find the right children for the right school. Wellington is an academically strong school. And if you're not academically able to sort of keep up with the fast pace of learning, you're not going to be happy. And I think, I'll finish up with primarily, and actually the most important thing we're trying to achieve is our students being happy at Wellington. And so everything I'm trying to achieve through the admissions process is trying to find pupils who are going to be happy. Again, I really hope to meet you all in person at some stage, but thank you very much for listening. And I'm going to try to work out how to stop doing this. And I think I've been under 10 minutes.
Yes, you have. Thank you. Thanks so much, Ed. I've actually visited the school and I have to tell you, it is fabulous. And I can't think of a sport they don't have. So it's, and I think you forgot to mention somebody's on the cricket team from your school, isn't it? One of your alum, Sam.
Well, we have 3 Currans who've played cricket for...
right, for the UK, right. Fabulous, great. So can we move on to Iona, please?
Lovely, thank you. Right, let me just see if I can do this. Now, can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Is that working? You can. Thank you. Sorry, I want to make sure.
Yeah,
oh,
it's fine.
Right. Okay, so I just wanted to, yes, I'm going to start with a little overview. My name is Iona Hutchinson. I'm the Director of Admission at Charterhouse. So Charterhouse, founded in 1611. I was going to give you a little bit of a potted history. We moved from London to Godalming in 1872. And actually, this is our 150th year in Godalming. And the headmaster at the time, he chose a great location. We are so close to London, 40 minutes from both Heathrow and Gatwick airports. It just makes such a huge difference. And at the moment, Charterhouse has entered into a really exciting time. We've moved to full co-education. From last September, we welcomed our underschool girls. That's our 13 and 14-year-old girls. We also have sixth form girls we have for 50 years. So we're moving to full co-education by next year. And we're growing the school now over the years, over the next few years, to around about 950 pupils. So Charterhouse, there are 5 key elements to a Charterhouse education. And I'm going to unpick this a little bit, but our basic 5 elements are our philosophy of learning. So we teach skills as much as knowledge, promoting academic rigor, basically to inspire our students to learn independently. Breadth of opportunity. Charterhouse education is all about enrichment, offering that full rounded education. Boarding ethos, everyone's in it together. So everyone at Charterhouse boards, that gives our pupils that space and time to grow. Leadership, community and service. So Charterhouse was founded on the principles of service and generosity, and we remain committed to partnerships with our local and wider communities. And our campus, possibly the most beautiful in the UK, we think, offering space and inspiration to a generation of pupils. So I'll just go into those a little bit deeper. So we are academically focused. Our curriculum, year 9, it's a very broad curriculum. So our students will study 14 to 15 subjects. So try everything, explore and develop those interests, and then we'll narrow them down to 10 GCSEs. We really like that chance to really try everything, especially for students that maybe have not studied subjects before, maybe Latin or something like that. Give it a really good go and just see if it sticks. Sixth form, there's a choice of the IB diploma, or A-levels, and our A-levels are with an extended project qualification, and they have a choice of electives as well. University destinations, so more than 200 pupils, which is roughly a year group for us in the sixth form, will graduate from Charterhouse, and they'll go on to study all over the world at the most competitive and prestigious universities, UK, US, Europe. Just some popular destinations. Most of them will go in the UK to the rugby group universities. Oxford and Cambridge is always a want. Edinburgh, Bristol, all of those. And our most popular university courses was quite interesting, sort of engineering, computer science, economics, business, very, very popular, science, and the humanities. But the American universities are getting more and more popular each year, and we prepare all our students for SATs, ACTs, and I think there's some questions later, so we can go into this in a bit more detail, but we support all our students throughout the process. And yeah, that's exciting what they're up to. So the breadth of opportunity, co-curricular program, it absolutely complements the academic curriculum. I think most of our pupils spend more time outside the classroom than in, and that just really explores their interests, and it really creates those lifelong learners. Just a few stats, so 24 different sports in the last 12 months, 64 clubs and societies, and that is growing all the time. The students come up with their own clubs and societies, their own ideas. I love 11,200 music lessons across 21 different instruments, even in lockdown, even remotely, it didn't stop, and nor did the productions and the lecturers. Zoom actually has been a great medium for our students to really explore. They've been really creative, really inspiring. But it is that taking part, which we know is the most important of the co-curricular, and it's where those friendships are formed, and it provides that all-important well-being and that balance. And it's where, of course, by taking part, that they acquire these new skills that we know are highly valued by future employers, and they learn naturally teamwork, being with each other, learning to develop empathy and emotional intelligence, leadership, being able to organize yourself, just as important as being able to communicate your ideas clearly to others. They get a chance to push boundaries, dealing with difficult, maybe challenging circumstances for that personal growth, and being open-minded. So working with people, maybe that you don't know, and in unfamiliar circumstances. So this goes through the whole co-curricular program, but also delivered through our Pioneers program, our sort of Outward Bounds program, Duke of Edinburgh Awards. We do silver and gold, very popular, as is the combined cadet force, very, very popular CCF. Boarding's at the heart of what we do. So as I've said, all our pupils board. We do have a very few day pupils, very much part of every boarding house, very much involved in everything. They live very, very close and tend not to go home till about 10 o'clock at night. So they're very involved. But it is that boarding where our pupils have the space to grow and to explore and make the most of their time at the school. It also allows our tutors and our house teams to really get to know all of our pupils and develop those relationships, which are absolutely key to supporting all our pupils as they move up through the school. Deo Dedidanti, our school motto. So God having given, I give. And that is very much a principle that our school was founded on. And we're very committed to all our partnerships, and those also are growing. And it's wonderful to have our students out working in local schools, maybe helping some of our local schools with languages and music lessons. It's great. It's a really important part of what we do. And our last one was our inspiring campus. We have 250 acres of beautiful grounds and facilities, and we believe it's fundamental to the ethos of the school. It's that psychology of the space that gives our pupils a healthy sense of balance, well-being, and perspective. And it provides that safe place to grow, explore, and develop interests. And every day our pupils, our young people, are outside taking part in different activities and moving around the beautiful campus. And I've got a few pictures just to quickly show you some of my favorite shots. Our Founders Court, right in the heart of the school, is a beautiful place. Is my machine going to work? No, it's not going to work. Well, I can't go on to the next one. Bear with me. Right. Oh, my machine has broken. Bear with me 1 second, Artie.
No worries.
Have I stopped sharing? I have, haven't I?
Yes, you have. You have.
Right. Let me see if I can just get this back.
Is this the video you're trying to play? Yes, we can.
Can you see it now? It wasn't a video, no.
We're seeing your desktop now. Yeah, and we're seeing both the slides now. So if you can just like make it slideshow. Yeah. That's okay. Why don't you just talk us through it?
Is that better? Is that better? You can see that now?
Yes. Yes.
You can see my Founders Court, yes?
Yes, yes.
And now you can see the chapel, yes?
Yes.
Right, so sorry, these are some of my photographs, sorry, technology at its finest. So that's our beautiful chapel, where as a community we meet together. Cricket pitch, we're looking forward to the summer. It is round the corner, which is great. We're starting to get lighter here, so it's wonderful. And then just quickly show you just our little journey over the last few years. We've embarked on an incredible journey to develop the school. So in 2018, we opened our £10 million Science and Math Centre, which brings together all our STEM subjects, our STEM buildings. That has been an amazing addition to the school. 2021, this last September, we opened a new cafe right in the heart of the school, which is central dining for all the houses that live in the centre of the school. And outside of the meal times, it's a cafe for our students to get together, work on projects, for our staff to meet with students. It's a wonderful space. That's been a great addition. We opened 2 new boarding houses with the onset of going co-ed. They also opened in last September, one for girls, one for boys. It was very important that we didn't have it all just about the girls that they were coming, and we've been moving a few houses around just to get that lovely balance right for co-ed. And looking ahead, 2022 onwards, over the next few years, we are refurbishing our art facilities. We are expanding music as well. We're extending and refurbishing our theatre. Theatre is just such a huge part of the school. We love all our students to get involved. They've been doing the band show this week, and it's all run by students on the stage, behind the stage, fantastic. And then our really big project is creating a business hub in the heart of the school. It was interesting. Business is such a key interest for our students. Entrepreneurship, wonderful. It's going to be really exciting. And I just thought I'd finish just with our core values, which underpin everything that we do. Sort of perseverance, responsibility, moral courage, open-mindedness, and kindness. And I think it's also similar to what Ed said, and our headmaster would say that kindness for him is the most important. You know, the children, we want them to be happy, and then they will flourish in one of these wonderful environments. Anyway, sorry about the hiccup in the middle, but thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you at Charterhouse. I will stop sharing if I can.
Yes. Thank you so much, Iona. And could we just move on to James, please?
Thanks, Artie. I'm just seeing, is that sharing okay in tradition of everybody else? Can you see my slides okay? Fantastic, thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's a real pleasure to be talking to you. And like Ed and Iona, I'm sorry that we're not in India to see you. It's one of our favourite places to visit, and hope to be back very soon. I've got a feeling we might enter, not into a kind of stats war or race, but you've got 3 of the largest boarding schools in the UK. So I'm not going to try and get competitive with my colleagues. They're all great schools. But I think we might just tip you on a few of the stats with acreage and a few things. We'll see as we go on. But I'll try not to get too involved in an arms race against Ed and the size of the campus. Millfield is always been traditionally different. And I'll talk a little bit about our diverse mix of students, where they come from, and also about our history of a slightly younger school than the both Wellington and Charterhouse, but not by much. We're also in the southwest of the UK. So we're down below beautiful Bath and Bristol in a very nice campus, not too far from any of the airports in the UK though. And we have 2 campuses. We have a prep school that goes up to the age of 13, just by Glastonbury Tor, a very historic site. And then we have Millfield Senior School as well, from the age of 13 to 18, and several other campuses that are dotted around the region as well. So in total, we have 450 acres, sorry, Ed, just slightly more. And that's a shot in practice of our prep school, co-educational throughout, and then through to Millfield Senior School. And we can discuss beautiful campuses. We're younger than Charterhouse, and Charterhouse looks beautiful as well, but I'm sure we'd all claim that our facilities are fantastic, and quite rightly so. This is oh, there's one of our campus houses, quite modern facilities, some of our campus houses as well. Some of these have ensuite bathrooms and things too, but I think very much the same sort of facilities you'll have heard from Ed and Iona. It's one of our more traditional houses as well. So we have a real mix of styles within Millfield. And I think this short video, again, just under a minute, hopefully you'll see a little bit of sense of the school. I hope that gives you a little flavour. I know sometimes we watch these on Zoom, they joke a bit, but I hope you got some sense of the school. So our history, where did it all begin? Well, it started in India. So our very first students were from India. The first headmaster, a chap called Jack Mayer, went out, travelled out in 1926, made friends with a Maharaja, as you did in those days, and returned with some local students, as well as some of the Maharaja's own sons, and they were our very first students. So our DNA goes right back, and our closer links with India over the last 80 plus years have always been very strong from that starting point. We are very much a full boarding school. We have 80% of our students are British, 20% international from 70 countries. So we have a wide spread, no more about 30 students from any one country. We have about 27 or so from India. Kenyan's one of our largest nationality groups at the moment. However, we also have a lot of expat British as well. So if you had this sort of mythical plane that was traveling over to Millfield, 250 of those are British and 250 are international. And you can see the spread a little bit around the world where our students come from. It's a very broad region. That was a snapshot in time. It varies a little bit as time goes on. So we enjoy our diversity, and that's a very important part, I think, of Millfield. And I've already mentioned some of these stats here with our international links. And that means we have strong pastoral care, which is really important. And you'll see the same sort of systems across many of the traditional boarding schools, that important role of the housemaster or housemistress. That's going to be really a central part of the pastoral care in any full boarding school, but the range of other people who can offer support as well, enrichment, group tutors, heads of year. There's a really great pastoral support structure for any young person traveling across the world to one of our schools. We've got great academic breadth. We offer a wide range of subjects at A-level and GCSE. We don't offer IB, but we have a small group of BTEC subjects, which are predominantly in art and a few other areas. Our results have been strong. We are a large school. We are the largest co-ed boarding school in the UK, 1,300 students, again, slightly larger than both Wellington. Our top 100 students are getting very, very good grades. But we have large year groups, and that reflects in both our GCSE and A-level results for the last few years. So our destination of leavers is broad as well. Like Iona, they go on to many different universities and other areas. SATs is a big area. Ooh, I lost my SAT slide. I'll come back to that. US universities, we're an SAT centre. We have students who go on to study at a wide range of American universities. And probably we're slightly broader in when we're looking for selection of students. I'll talk about admissions at the end as well, where they'll be coming from. Co-curricular, very strong: music, dance, art. You'll get a sense of that from the video that we just showed. We're probably well known for our sporting offer. We have 28 full sports that are run throughout the year and have matches and competitive fixtures in. We've produced a lot of Olympians over the years. We had a stat, I think in 2012, that if we'd been a country, Millfield produced was higher than Canada in the Olympic medal table or something like that. So I'm not sure where we are in Tokyo. I haven't added that one up, but we know we did pretty well. So that's obviously a strength people often know Millfield for, but we aren't just about the sport, it's about the all-roundedness as well. We've got a few cricketers too. I'm not sure we've got any in the current team that were playing in the Ashes, so that's probably a good thing. We'll leave for the currents where I missed that as well, actually, Ed, so you did well probably to miss that one. So we've got a diverse range. I think our alumni is very much represented. You see that sort of variety of people. And as I said, many of those from India as well as a basis. I'll just talk briefly about the admissions process. It's something that both Iona and Ed touched upon. Because we are a slightly larger school in the Southwest as well, we will take assessments from about year 7 for year 9 entry. So a year or two before entry. We're not quite as low as year 6. And we take around about 200 students in at year 9. We do take some in at year 10 as well. We have a year 9 program for the first year, our students in houses together, and then they move on to their senior houses for the next 4 years. And we take about 40 students into year 10. And we have about 130 students joining the sixth form. So school gets bigger, it grows as it goes up. So that means we have a large assessment period at that stage too. So if you are looking for an application, whilst for 2022 2, we are full for sixth form and most of the year groups. You can actually have a slightly later application, 2023, for certainly those other year groups if you've got an older boy or girl. But I'm happy to go into more detail about that at any other stage. I'm conscious of time. I think, Artie, I've just about hit the 10 minutes. Interestingly, I think we've all got, as one of our values, kindness. So there we are. What it says about us as 3 schools. One of our values is be kind, be authentic, be a disruptor. So what are the chances of that? Kindness is featuring high across all our British boarding schools. Artie, I'll go back to you.
Great. Thank you so much, all 3 of you, for sharing your school with us. So before we start with the question and answers, I just wanted to clarify 1 or 2 things for our participants. So in the UK, all grades are called 1 year ahead. So if your grade 5 in India is year 6 in the UK. So grade 6 is year 7. So when you hear a year 9, they're really talking about grade 8. Just to clarify that, because sometimes we all get confused with that when you say year 12 and things like that. And the 11th and 12th standard, which is their year 12 and 13, is called the sixth form, in case that word comes up and you all get confused. So just a bit of clarification on that. I would encourage all of you to ask your questions. We do have a few, but any more, just please do ask, and I will, as I said, try my best to get them answered. So I think before we really jump into the panelist questions, I just want 1 or 2 more clarifications. Ed, if you could just tell us a little bit about the IB program, just a quick gist, and James, if you could tell us about the A levels, please. Yeah.
So thank you. I mean, IB is brilliant. I mean, we have 50% of our sixth form do IB and 50% do A level. IB differs from A level and it's a bit broader. So you study 3 subjects at higher level and 3 subjects at standard level. And then there is an extra element of service, creativity, action and service. And you do an extended essay, which is fantastic preparation for the work you do at university. And you also do a theory of knowledge paper, a little bit of philosophy there, which is brilliant. Each subject is marked out of 7, and so overall, the IB is out of 45 points. The vast majority of sort of UK universities will ask for probably somewhere between 36 and 38 points. We think that achieving sort of 38 points at IB, I mean, our average is 41.3. Achieving 38 points at IB is probably easier than the equivalent A level. So as preparation for university, I think it's a fantastic way of getting into university. You have to choose, sorry to go on a little bit, but it's quite important. You choose English, maths, a humanity, a science, a language, and then you have a free choice or a creative subject. So it gives you that breadth. It's loved by European universities, it's loved by American universities, and we just think it's very, very good preparation. If you're not absolutely focused and you know that you definitely want to do, for instance, maths and science, then IB keeps a lot of options open.
Great, thank you. James, A level, please. And
yes, I'm conscious
if you want to. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm conscious I'm going to speak for both Iona and Ed here, because obviously we all offer A level. So traditionally, A levels is what the British student has done at post 16 for last 100+ years. There was a tweak that started to come in about the year 2000, where we went to a system having called A levels and AS levels. And I wasn't a great fan of that, I must admit, as a history teacher myself. But it was a system where people would do half A level in the lower sixth and half in the upper sixth. And they've moved to doing 4 A levels for a while. They might do 4 and then drop 1, or possibly do 4. When I did A levels back last century, you did 3 A levels, and that's what you needed to go to university. 3 A levels was fine. We've now, in the last couple of years, moved back to that system of really doing 3 A levels. So there's a bit of a hangover that some students may still want to come and do 4, but I think at the end of the day, 3 A's, A stars will beat 4 B's. And I think probably all of us would try and say, look, just having an extra breadth is not necessarily going to win you that university place. For some students, that works really well. Certainly we offer that. About 20% of our students do 4 A levels, but for many others, 3 A levels. Possibly a thing called an EPQ, which takes an aspect of the IB, which is really good, the theory of knowledge aspect. And that's a program which you can do where you basically going to actually look at doing a project. So it's a project you take and choose, and you'll be assessed in it. It's a half an A level. So that's an EPQ plus 3 A levels. It's a really good system. So a bit more specialist than IB, but it is a traditional route for British universities. And there's some knock on with US universities as well, with acceptance of that. But I'll finish there, Arti.
Okay, great. Thank you. So Iona, I had a call with a client this morning and this came up, so it's very top of mind. How does a student actually choose between the IB and A levels? Because is there some kind of exam test they can take to help them decide? Is there a course? Because, it's so difficult and we find it also hard to actually figure out what is the right board. So would you be able to help us a little bit with that?
Yes, I mean, so what we do is actually when we're assessing for new students to come into the sixth form, we're not assessing for either the IB or the A-level course at that time. They're still quite young. We are looking for whether we think that they will thrive at Charterhouse. After they've got their place, we then sit down with them and spend a lot of time going through what is the IB, what is the A-level, what are you thinking about doing at university, what might suit you the best. Some students will have quite fixed ideas. We want them to be quite open-minded actually and look at both courses really carefully, look at it in depth. And we do the same with our current students that are moving up. So as they're coming through GCSEs, they're starting to get ideas about what they might like to do. Some have absolutely no idea. That's absolutely fine as well. And for some, they're looking at it strategically. Absolutely, the universities are making fantastic offers for the IB. Others just love that breadth of subjects. They don't want to drop maths or a language or something. They want to keep that going alongside. And I think some feel that you can't do, I don't know, medicine or engineering with the IB, but that's not true because it is sort of formatted so that those doors are still open. And I think whichever course they use and the advice that we're looking to give, it is about keeping those doors open for students so they're making sort of informed choices when they're still on that journey to discover what they want to do. So there's lots of help, lots of support.
Okay, thanks, but I'm going to delve into this a little more, Ed. What happens is when you're choosing a bucket of schools, sometimes you have to take a call at that time on whether you're going to look at an IB school or an A-level school. So is there any specific skill sets they should look at? Second part to that is, are there any advantages or disadvantages of both boards in both countries, US and UK, since those are the most common ones?
I mean, I don't know what my colleagues are saying this, but my strong view is you choose a school because a school feels right for you and fits with you. I mean, we believe it's lovely having the choice of A-level and IB, but I don't think it makes a massive difference. I think you can select a relatively broad, selection of 3 A-levels if you need to. And the reality of the situation is, if you're trying to go to the US, the US understand A-levels as much as they understand IB. So I don't think that makes a difference. It's lovely to be able to have that flexibility, and you don't need to be. I mean, all of our schools will teach pretty much in the same way, IB versus A-level. IB is more prescriptive about being a global citizen, and it's absolutely wonderful for that. But all of our schools, these are good schools. They'll teach in that way anyway for A-levels. So I mean, genuinely, I wouldn't make a decision based on that. I mean, it's lovely to have a bit more choice if the school offers it, but I think, and just to very quickly on Iona's question, my son is in year 11 at the moment, and he's making his choice between A-level and IB. And although I've spent years giving advice to people, I still don't know what we're going to select for him. And it's an ongoing process. And, the lovely thing is also you're able to change, with us, at least, if a subject doesn't work, or after your GCSE results, you want to change your mind, it's possible to do that, which is fantastic.
Okay. I think, a question that is being repeated a number of times is about US admissions, because a lot of the Indian kids do want to come to the UK and then move on to the US. As far as I know, all 3 schools support US admissions, very proactively. But if any one of you would like to just, take that question on and just tell us a little bit about what kind of support you give. Iona, would you like to do that?
Happy to just, I think, Iona,
Yeah.
you were an SAT centre as well. Ed, I think we've probably got really good similarity between us. We've had a dedicated US careers advisor. I think I'll probably speak for my colleagues as well, but you all do the same. So I think it's choosing a school, if you've got an interest in going to a US university, check, do they do SATs? Are they an SAT centre? So in the Southwest, we have a lot of schools that come to us to sit the SATs. We have a dedicated US careers advisor. We've got, I think this year we'll be having around about 50 to 60 students who go off to US universities, a number of top scholarships. They're constantly signing things. This is the latest fad. We're sending out tweets with lots of people who are sat with a screen and they've got like big US sort of things and they're signing for them. So I don't know whether that's something you found at Wellington Child. I keep on seeing our Milford Twitter account as these people signing for, you know, state universities and things. So I would look and see just what is being pumped out by that school. Are they going to support, you know, because a lot of schools will say, yes, we have students go to US universities, but if you scratch beneath the surface, I think you'll probably find probably our three schools are probably doing some of the best things in the country for that.
I think just to add to that, you know, in our experience, we've been sending students there for so many years. Definitely, firstly, these three are schools that do send a lot of kids to the US, but the more international students there are in a school, the more likely they're going to the US. They know how to do the US because a lot of the international students are the ones that really go there and want to go to the US. Am I correct? I mean, the local students get it so cheap. Why would they spend that money and going off to the US? So yeah. Okay.
It's interesting actually. UK universities have become more expensive actually, and so actually it's not just international students. We have you know, a huge number of domestic students very interested in it.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. I think another question you know, that is being asked is the Indian board. So what lands up happening, and this is what we also see, you know, the curriculum in the Indian board is very different from the GCSEs. So firstly, when they are transitioning from the Indian board to the GCSEs or the IB or A levels, is there any kind of support that your school, you know, would provide them? Secondly, and this is like my own personal experience with the students we've worked with, when they're going in younger ed, so when you're looking at a student in the in year 6, you know, at that stage in India, very often I find that they're not really matching what you're looking for in terms of at least the English skills, but they do develop. There's a, you know, it's, I think the difference in curriculum. So do you take that into account when you're looking at admissions?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, it's phenomenally difficult to look at an 11-year-old child and say what they're going to be like when they're 13. It's even harder when they've been through, you know, a different education system. But, you know, we're all very experienced here at doing that. And absolutely, we take into account the educational background. And, you know, we have faith that we have time to spend with those children to help them. If they join in year 9, they've got a whole of year 9 to do a breadth of subjects and to really work out what they want to specialize in. And if they join in the sixth form, you know, all of the sixth form courses are set up to help people, you know, to help them be entirely accessible from people who haven't necessarily studied to the same level. What we're all looking for is character. We're all looking for that passion about learning, and that real fit with our schools. So it's not necessarily about pure academic attainment to date, but it is, you know, we'll all select on a different level of academic potential, I think, to a certain extent. And we'll get that slightly through our ISCB pre-test, a lot through references that come from you, RT, but also from schools. And just then when they attend our assessment days, you know, the whole assessment day is designed to see how they fit with our culture. And, you know, we've got a lot of experience of taking wonderful Indian children who have absolutely thrived.
Great. Would either of you want to add to that, James or Anna? Okay. So, Iona, could you help us just understand what exactly, you know, what should I look at as a parent? I mean, what skill sets are you looking at as a school, so which I can develop in a child or help a child grow with for, you know, to get him ready for boarding school?
Well, to get them ready for boarding school, I think, well, I suppose also when they're selecting and looking at a school, what we're looking for, if they're coming in at the sort of year 9, we want them to be academically able to thrive in this environment. So that the ISCB gives us such a great insight into that sort of raw data, I suppose. Reference from the school, absolutely key. And then we're looking for that sort of enthusiasm and that excitement to be part of this environment. We will throw absolutely everything at them in year 9, and we want them to really want to do that and get involved, because then they get the most out of it. It really helps them settle as well, make friends across the whole of their year group, across the school. I think for the sixth form, sixth form goes really quickly. So they're straight in and then literally they're out and off to university. So what we're looking for in the tests, we actually ask them to do 2 of their subjects that they're likely to study at A-level or IB. Just we want to make sure that that is comfortable. If they're looking to do sort of high-level maths or maths further maths, we do want to see that maths paper just to make sure that is absolutely achievable for them. Because, as I say, it goes so quickly and there are opportunities to change, but we want to make sure that that fit is right, because then the rest of it will all fall into place. I think for parents they need to come and see the school. I think they really need to come and see if it's a fit. They need to come and see if their child will thrive in this environment. And I think for the children to see if they love it. I mean, sometimes we have families that come and visit and they're like, should we just leave the child here because he or she is just up for staying? I think it's really important. I think all of that side of it is, I don't know whether it's a gut instinct. I think it is partly the most important part. Has that answered your question?
Yes, but just to add on to that, because that's another question, are extracurriculars important at this stage for boarding school admissions?
It's important, but we're not looking for them to be, I don't know, phenomenal or anything in particular.
Okay.
We just want, it's enthusiasm. I mean, some will come and they've played a sport to a really high standard. Others just want to have a go. We're looking for those to be stuck in. We have teams in sport for all abilities, and it's about that participation, getting on that coach, representing your school, being part of it. And I love it when I see children that come through and they, well, I was never picked for the play in my old school, so I don't do theatre, I don't do drama. Year 9, gloves off, have a go. And then they thrive, and that confidence just zooms up by being, again, part of it, and stepping outside that comfort zone.
Okay, great. So there's a very specific question for you, James, which is, can a student get in for the prep school, and how young is does your boarding start?
Yeah, great question. So our boarding will really start at the age of 7. A lot of students will come maybe for about the age of 9 and 10. So that's quite common at that sort of point. And prep schools are slightly different from senior schools. You know, there's, I think nearly every prep school is perhaps less selective than we will be as senior schools. So it's a much softer admissions process. You've heard some very scary admissions processes we've outlined here, so I think at a prep school age, be reassured, we're very much looking at the fit of the child. Are they ready for boarding? How are they going to enjoy all those extracurricular things that are going on, and then look for where they'll travel to. We have our own prep school. 98% of the students, pupils at the prep school go on to Millfield Senior. But yeah, welcome an application, come have a look.
Okay, great. Since we are talking about admissions, I don't think everybody's really understood the admission process. So if we can just talk about the timeline for the 6th form, which is 11th standard India, and the timeline for the younger one. So Ed, could you run us through your timeline because I know your younger one is just too early, so I'm going to ask you to do the 6th form, please. Can you tell us about your timeline for year 12, please?
Don't be entirely put off about our young ones. We do a bit of research. We do have places in year 7 and year 8 as well. For the 6th form, it is important actually. So at the end of our year 10, which I'm trying to work out is your grade 9, and in between June and about mid-September of that year, we ask you to register on our website and write a personal statement and upload your latest school report. From then, we do very similar to Iona. Everyone sits. We do it electronically. We do 3 exams in the subjects you'd be most likely to take in your 6th form, but we don't hold you to that. And then from that, we select a number to come for an assessment. The exams take place in late October, and the assessment takes place in November. If you can't travel, we'll do interviews virtually, but it's just such a good experience to try to come and visit the school. And on the school, we'll get you to select one faculty that you're most interested in, and then you'll have a genuine lesson in that faculty. And then we have a Harkness debate, Harkness session, or an experiment or whatever it is. And then we do tours of the school. We get you chatting to other sixth form students. There's some group presentations. And the whole idea is as part of that, the students see whether they enjoy our culture and they're happy in our culture, and we're seeing the same thing. So I think that the main point is make sure you've applied by mid-September, and everyone, very good. We work together on this, and we all make our announcements on the 1st of December as to when places are going to be offered.
Great, thank you. So I think this is very similar, just to add to what Ed has said, it's very similar in all the schools, just the timeline maybe moved from October to the first 2 weeks of November. And instead of, because they don't do Harkness, there might be individual interviews. I think that's about the only difference between, the schools. We did touch on, the younger admission process. So maybe we don't delve into that in the essence of time, but basically a lot of these schools do use the ISEB, followed by maybe a basic English and math exam and an interview. And since their timelines all differ so much, we won't get into it. It starts right from the 5th standard and goes on right up to the 7th standard. Right, so given this year and the COVID situation, are you allowing parents on campus? How do we fix this up? Or are there open days, because parents can come at various different times. So if both James and Iona, if you can just address this, please, for me.
Shall I go first? Yes, we are welcoming families absolutely to the school. We are doing open events as well. So yes, get in touch. We have an online booking system, or send us an email. Our individual appointments, if you can give us as much notice as possible, that would be great. But if for just about to open a really big one in the summer, which should be lovely when the sun is shining. So yes, please come and see us.
Okay, so is this different for any of you? James seems to have disappeared. Oh, he's back. Ed, are you also open to parents visiting at this point, or?
No, I'm rushing off now to welcome a whole load now. Yeah, and
yes,
and
I know that. Ed is in a big rush today. Yeah.
If you're coming from India, and our days are often sort of quite booked up on our website, but just get in touch with us directly. Tell us you're coming, and we'll set up an individual tour for you, so we can be very flexible.
Okay, great. I think another very important question, which I don't want to not address, is the Exead weekends and the half terms. So, as a rule, every student who applies to the UK for boarding school needs a guardian. Is there any exception to this? Is there any facilities to stay back if a kid cannot come? No, I need them to hear this from you, because they all wonder how this is possible. So am I correct? Yeah.
Yeah, you need a guardian, Artie, and Exead's are interesting ones. We're in Somerset, full boarding school, so we don't tend to have many Exeads. We have one fixed one in the year. So and we're probably going to have more students who will be in the southwest. Your screen's all coming on the screen, so I'll stop there, Artie, and let you get ready for your final part.
No, I just wanted to let everybody know. Thank you so much. We've had a fabulous attendance today. I mean. Thank you, participants, for being a part of this. I know Ed has a ton of parents waiting for him, and so does everybody else. So in lieu of time, thank you very, very much. We've tried to answer as many questions. If you need any more answered, please do write to me on any of these, either get in touch with us at my email ID, or just you go onto our website and there are options of booking something in. We'd be happy to get you in touch, with any of these schools. And so that's it. Thanks very, very much, all three of you, for taking your time out. I know it's a holiday for Iona, and she's coming to school just for us, and Ed's got a bunch of parents standing outside. So, and I'm sure James has as crazy a day. So thank you very much for being a part of this today. Yeah, and we look forward to sending students to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Artie.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you all participants. Thank you. Bye.